We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
You're knowing what you're wanting?
Yes.
Are you appreciating the expansion of your own desire?
Yes.
And do you appreciate the contrast that gives birth to that expansion? Then our work here is done. Well, that's really it, isn't it? Life just causes you to expand. You can't prevent that from happening. Your exposure to life is this perfectly balanced variety that causes you to give birth to new. And once that happens, then you have an option of moving in the direction of the new idea, of the new desire, or not. When you move in the direction of the new idea by following it with thoughts, by speaking optimistically about the new idea, then you feel exhilaration. That feels so good. But if you have been carrying around with you some doubts about your worthiness or about your ability or about something, and you launch or give birth to a new desire, then your beliefs can hold it back. And in the process, you feel the tension of that holding back. But it's normal for you to give birth to a new desire and not just romp right along with it, because it was the contrast that caused you to give birth to it. And so it's not unusual for you to be really more aware of what you don't want, which gave birth to what you do want, than what you do want, which is sort of fresh and new to you. You sort of have to adjust. Have you ever brought a new piece of furniture home and it just looks weird for a while? It just has to find its place for a while. It just doesn't fit in quite yet. You haven't had that experience. Esther has it almost every day. She brings something else home and it doesn't fit for a while. And so life brings contrast, and when contrast comes, you launch a new desire, and the new desire feels foreign to you at first because it's a new desire. It's not something that you're steady about. And so your work is to then get steady about the new desire, rather than remain vibrationally or physically with your eyes and ears and so forth focused upon what went wrong. You could stay focused upon that, and most do for a while, because, and we really want you to understand this, you are a lot of things, a lot of wonderful things, but you are ever moving forward, which means you feel like achievers, which means you want to be problem solvers. But we want you to understand that your work is not to be a problem solver. Your work is to be a desire birther. And problems give birth to desire. And desire is where all expansion comes from. And expansion is so important to your beingness, because that's who you are. You are ever moving forward. So if you could ever accomplish a moment in time, or a week in time, or a lot of time in time, where things are just moving along and everything is going exactly the way you think you want it to, do you know that your streaming of desires would slow way, way down? Your attraction of new would slow way, way down. And your reason for being would slow way, way down, because you are a creator. And you create by giving your attention to things. You create through thought, and thought is vibration, and vibration is energy, and so on and so on. And so we know you've heard all of these things from us before, yes? If you've been listening to us at all, it's what we've been talking about for a long time. And yet every day you have a renewed experience where something that you may not have ever lived before happens in your experience. And when it does, the key to living happily ever after is to be forward looking to the life-giving solution, rather than backward looking to the problem that gave birth to the new desire. And when you get that, then you will stop trying to be perfect all the time. You will no longer stand in a place where you're trying to cover up what you think went wrong. Instead, you will embrace it. When something wonderful happens, we hear Esther often say, I did that. Because she knows she gave birth to it. She knows she lined up with it. She knows she held it in her steady point of focus. And she knows that she allowed it to fully manifest in her experience. She knows that she, and only she, was the one who focused those vibrations into thoughts and those thoughts into those things. So when something wonderful happens, I did that. And when something not so wonderful happens, I did that. It's really easy to begin to see the correlation between how you're thinking and therefore how you're feeling and what's manifesting. So as we're visiting here today, we want to help you to come to understand that everything is about what you're doing about it. We want you to take ownership of what's coming to you. We want you to accept that it is your point of attraction, but we also want you to know that you have the ability, through your focus, through your paying attention to the way you feel as you focus, of molding your thoughts into frequencies that align with who you really are and what you really want, so that you can consistently live happily ever after. Now, living happily ever after does not mean contrast free. Living happily ever after does not mean negative emotion free. Living happily ever after means understanding the process, understanding that when you don't want something, that you do want something, and that you have the ability to choose which way you focused, and you can do it now or later. You get to choose all of it. And after a little while, instead of seeking a life of perfection where everything's all settled down and just the way you think you want it, instead you will happily embrace the adventure of life that gives birth to the new desire, because you know once a new desire is born that your inner being is in on that, that the source energy within you and the point of attraction that your source energy holds is summoning to who you really are and summoning to your new desire all things that are necessary in order to bring it about in full fruition. That thought will turn to things. Wanted or unwanted, that thought will turn to things. So when you begin to understand that your thoughts are turning to things, and you begin to realize that you have lots of control over the thoughts you think, then what begins to happen is you begin to really enjoy anything that causes a new unfamiliar desire to be born within you, because now you get the fun, the adventure, the expertise, the hands in the clay of being able to focus in this sort of new arena, and then to watch what feels like those who don't understand the laws of the universe, the magic of the universe, as the things that you are desiring are coming about right before your eyes. You get to witness your own creation. And that's the best part about being here in these physical bodies. You are source energy in physical bodies. You are an extension of non-physical energy. And as an extension of that non-physical energy, you're out here on the leading edge where you explore contrast that helps you to understand what you out here on the leading edge prefer. Because you got to be preferring more than what is, or you can't be expanding. Can you hear what we're getting at? We're not teaching you to be satisfied with exactly how things are. We want you to relax into the inevitable desire that pulses within you for more to happen in your life all the time. You cannot be satisfied with status quo. And you know why? Because the status quo, what you call the status quo, what you call reality, this see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it reality that you like so much and that you want to give so much of your attention to, we want you to come to realize that that's old news, that's past tense, because once it's manifested, the juice has flowed and it has occurred. It's like gum you've chewed all the flavor out of. And if you are like most people, you are giving so much of your attention to what is manifested rather than tending to the new vibrational creations that are in your pipeline. For example, let's say something happened and you didn't like it. And everybody agrees with you. Nobody would have liked it. And so you're giving your attention to this thing that you do not like, and you're justified in not liking it, and you want to talk about it a little bit because you feel pretty virtuous in coping with it. And so you're talking about this thing that you don't want that happened. What we want you to realize is that this thing that happened and it's done. But as you keep talking about it and thinking about it, now you are messing with the energy of the creations that are in the pipeline. So the next one comes with similar trouble, and the next one comes with similar trouble, and it does not need to. It's because you are defending or justifying or blaming or criticizing.